Good morning, everyone. I will take a moment to review the QQQ chart. I'll also walk through how I feed this information into Black Wolf. So I'm going to start by going to my QQQ trade plan. So I have a running chat with Black Wolf Pro. And so just morning routine or even previous night, I'll just run the updated charts over to Black Wolf and give it basically how the day closed. I typically start with the 1 day. It's pretty smart to where you can just tell it where price closed after you fed it, but I just like to give it a fresh chart. And so this is what we'll do. We'll give it a fresh chart. And I don't like to have the AYN on when I do that. So I'm going to give Black Wolf the 1 day chart. We are going to feed it the 4 hour. And I go all the way down to the 5 minute because I typically day trade QQQ. So I do want to bring it all the way down to the 5 minute. So this is the 4 hour. Next, we're going to do the 1 hour. If there was something like on the weekly chart I wanted it to analyze, I would refresh it. However, I've already gave it the weekly in this running chat this weekend, so I'm not going to really focus on the weekly. And so it may seem like a tedious task of grabbing and snipping the charts. However, you want to just get in the habit of it. It doesn't take a lot of time, as you can see, to grab your charts and feed it to Black Wolf. Um, it's faster than really building your own trade plan, obviously. So just take a few minutes if you want to, and whatever ticker you're always interested in day trading or, whatever you're doing, just go ahead and do the screenshots. It's pretty helpful. So this is the 15 minutes, so we're almost done. And then we're going to go down to the 5 minute. Okay, so we're going to give the 5 minute and then we'll start the trade analysis. I do tell it that I like to use 1 day expirations. However, if it's just really going to be a good day, I don't mind ODTEs in the money or at the money if the day is just showing like a very solid trend. If it's not, then you have to keep in mind that and you may have experienced this like even yesterday, that when VIX is not above 20, it's a drag sometime with day trade. A lot of times with day trades. So you don't want to just jump right into ODTEs thinking that you're just going to get this grand move for the day and make all of this profit. There could be a lot of premium burn happening, so it's better to give yourself me, this is me personally, a day, unless you're catching it like at the right moment. Um, And so that's like catching it at a rejection, catching it like at an end of day move, or even like the lunchtime pullbacks sometimes are pretty easy to profit off of ODTEs. But timing is everything. If you don't have timing and entry together, I just don't think you should trade with ODTEs. It's just too risky for your account. So I said, here are the updated charts for QQQ. Price close at 620.76 pre-market is at 620.32. Assist with a trade plan for today. I will be using 1 day expirations. I'm also going to tell it one more thing before. Why is this in my way? Move this away. Before we submit. So we're gonna go and let it know what data we have for today. So I'm gonna snip this. So we have S&P composite dropping, and I think that's important to upload. And then we have some Michigan consumer data. I just give it. Okay. All right. So once you upload this, we are just going to allow it to do the work and put together a trade plan for QQQ while that is going on in the background. Let's just look at yesterday for a second. So I think this was yesterday. All right, so we gap up on yesterday, a really nice gap up. And so the pullback here really was a pretty good entry point because it validated this high point was broken right here. We broke it here. So that was at 616. So we had 616 as potential support to 615 as support. I was even thinking maybe we come down to 614 and validate support. I mean, that still could happen today. When we opened, as you can see, I actually immediately watched to short this gap up because if you look at the chart from the 1 day, we hit an order block right here. So this order block was created on January 15th. And so this candle jumped into this order block. So what I was looking for was a potential move right away to take some profit from that morning gap up. And so that did happen. And this is when you catch like an easy trade. Like if you can anticipate a gap up, a gap down, then you can kind of watch for that. So that's what happened here. We were hitting an order block. You can see it even on the 5 minute chart, deep red. So this was definitely some resistance here. So if you were kind of watching it the way I was, then you'll see like the 622 pull all the way back to 618. Actually as low as 617, 75, 78. This was your key point to watch because in the trade plan, it did indicate that we needed to hold 618. So once price pulled back here, you can see where it started to hold support, and then you can see where we got the arc. And then you can see that we slowly grinded our way back up to this high point. Not like a aggressive trade. I mean, like if you compare that to the moves of Wednesday, obviously today was more of a slow day. Not even, maybe you might have felt like QQQ wasn't the best trader trade option for today. And sometimes that happens. It was tradable if you got your entry at around 618 as we were reversing, because keep in mind we also did not lose the 12 EMA. This was just a healthy pullback, an anticipated pullback, tested the 12 EMA and held support there. So gave a good entry to grind all the way up. Obviously, again, with VIX under 20, you want to try to get the best contracts you can and allow the plan to work itself out. So it moved all the way back to this order block here and then gave like an end of day pullback as well, also tradable. Just looking at where we were and it was the end of the day. So QQQ did give trades. You just want to remember, one, don't have a bias to, oh, we're going to pull back and have this big pullback from a gap up. It really truly pulled back to 12 EMA. And that's how I am learning to trade rejections as well. That's why I don't suggest it unless you're comfortable with that. The easier and better trade, less riskier trade is to come and let price come to the 12 EMA. There's no rush because if you were thinking, look at this rejection candle and look at this move, we could come more down. It didn't happen. But if you were it said, we're bullish and they're still positive, and the data that dropped was not really anything to impact QQQ in a negative way, you want to plan your entry for potentially a ride up. So this was tradable, and it all followed the trade plan, and then this was tradable. We're still above 618, so I think we still are looking pretty solid. I wouldn't go too much into thinking anything unless we start losing that 200 here. There's a potential to retest it from our break. And that will put us right again around that 617, 618 price range. Outside of that, losing it, I would think we'd come somewhere around here. But let's look at our trade plan and see what we came up with. I'm going to close the one from yesterday, and we should be ready. So here is what we have. We have a bullish scenario provided. High impact data today, risk filter. So it's letting us know no entry 5 minutes before, no entry 5 minutes after. Give the market time to digest the data. Conditions required for a bullish thesis. One, price needs to hold above 620. Notice that it says conditions required and it says all. So just kind of keep in mind, you want to let the conditions check itself off. You'll be able to make different judgments if the market makes some type of big move because obviously Black Wolf can't predict Trump tweeting anything, right? So those are when you have to make judgments like the changes or the announcements on Wednesday. I couldn't rush to Black Wolf and give it that information of what just happened. I just made my own judgment to get calls. All right, so price holds above 620. Then we have a 15-minute candle closes above 622. We get a pullback that respects 620 to 621. No deep wick below. And momentum candles show follow through, not doji churn. Then it says enter your calls and it gives a suggestion of what to do because remember I told it that I would be trading 1 day expirations. Doesn't mean I have to trade 1 day. I can go further out if I want to, but this is just it. And then your take profit targets are here and here and only a runner if a 15-minute candle closes. Stop loss is at 618, which aligns to what we're seeing on the charts. If we go to our bearish thesis, here's the conditions. We failed to reclaim 622. And you can look at this from a few 5-minute candles holding 622 because it may chop around, or you can look at it from a 15-minute candle closing. Or we get a rejection wick above 621, 622. So we pop above 621, 622, but then we get a pretty aggressive wick. After that, you want to make sure that a 15-minute candle closes below 618. So even if you start taking it from the rejection, which again, that's like a high risk trade, you have to make sure that we do also get this happening. Otherwise, your exit from maybe getting it at a higher point is getting out at 618 or planning to get out at 618 if that holds support. And then you also want to see momentum flip from green to red with expansion. And then you have your trade plan here. There is a no trade zone if you start seeing price just chopping around between 618 to 621. That is just a waste of your time, in my opinion. And I like that the new trade plan format is giving no trade zones because I think that's really important. So just keep that in mind as well. And then preserve your capital. So here are some rules, and then the final judgment is above 622 with acceptance. You get calls below 618 with acceptance. You get puts. Acceptance are those confirmation candles, not wicks, showing that we are going to hold under 618 or showing that we're going to hold above 622. And then I also mark my calendar with these key points and a note as well. So that just means that I am a visual person, so I like to see it. And then I'll even mark my no trade zone range and leave myself a note on my chart. Do not trade this range. So I'll go ahead and get this up in Discord so you have a moment to kind of take a look at this quick video. I hope that everyone has a wonderful trading day. I will be in and out I was hoping to go live, but I'm still a little tired from my son's surgery. So if you have any questions, just at me. I will be kind of having a lazy day, to be honest with you. I'll trade probably in my bed. So if you again have any questions, just tag me. I hope everyone has a great day. Bye.